Cool. So hopefully y'all can see me. Probably not coming through that good on the... Let's see what we have here. 12 people. All right. Oh man. We have a rockin' Cincinnati meeting. It was really cool. Oh man. We were talking about self-limiting beliefs, and it was awesome. Okay, no hands in pockets. Just like talked about yesterday. All right, man. So, builder's call. We got to talk about building a business. So, let me break it down with what we're doing, just so that you guys understand how simple a process it is. I've hired in the last 2 weeks, really the last month, since the beginning of the year, my calendar's just been filled with awesome people. It's insane. Mute.
All participants, and they can unmute themselves.
It's insane the quality of people I've found that they really need to do something. I mean, person after person, getting laid off, had to take like this one gal, she's probably one of the most exciting people I've been excited about. And she was making like $90,000 a year. And then the whole company nationwide got rid of a job code number. And hers was, she was like the top salesperson. She was the biggest producer. And because the company cut her job code, she got laid off. I mean, and she's like one of the sharpest people, highly motivated. I'm very hopeful. I mean, person after person after person, people going to hotspot meetings that are just getting their license and they're jacked up because of the hotspot meeting they went to. All over the country. I mean, I've been talking to people from Alabama, Washington State, New Hampshire. This gal's in New Hampshire. All these places where we got like a ton of leads. Wisconsin, like boatload of leads. Oregon, boatload and boatload and boatload of leads all over the country. They have been filling my calendar up. Like one day it was like, boom, 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 like one after the other. Like that might have been 6 interviews in a row. Maybe 2 of them were already licensed. I mean, they're coming out all over the place. I've never seen it like this. It's incredible. And the quality has been incredible. The quality has been absolutely freaking incredible. Okay. So I'm trying to urge you to get involved in the recruiting and bring on people. Okay. So here's kind of how to look at that. Okay, you hopefully, and you've seen the numbers have been blowing up. People are starting to book more appointments per week because they're believing it's possible, which is actually a funny thing because if you can book one appointment, you can book 20. The question is, are you going to book one every week for the next 20 weeks? Or are you going to book 20 in 1 week? The work to do that is the same exact work, except you dial until you book one appointment and then you stop. And then dial time next week, you dial till you stop. I mean, it's just numbers. But you have 20 weeks, you can do one a week, or you can do 20 in 1 week. The physicality of doing it is exactly the same. There is no difference. No difference. So we've been blowing up because people are making more dials and booking more appointments per week. That's the reason why everyone's blowing up in the Alliance, because they're all starting to believe that they could book more appointments in a week than they have ever before. And then they're seeing the results from it, okay? It's the same thing with leads. Some people are just afraid. They're spending $150 a week on leads, and then they're getting only so much production out of $150. Then they're closing, $1,200 on a sale per week on average. 1 week they might do $2,400, the other week they might do $0. But if they're spending $150, okay, and then they're making $500-600 they're netting. All right, and they're just, okay, so if you're seeing, and then they're complaining like, I'm not making enough money. It's like, dude, you're trying to squeeze more out of a $150 lead investment every week. Now, if you're doing referrals, that's where you could squeeze more. Okay, but if you're not willing to do referrals, then I can't help you. You're going to have to keep doing, you're going to have to do more than 150 a week. That's a simple answer. If you do 300 a week, guess what? You're going to double your results over time, right? Because if you get results with 150 a week, if you double that, you're going to get and dude, you're spending $300 a week, except you're doing it in 2 weeks. Do you see how that is? You're spending $300 a week, but you're doing it in 2 weeks, and you're getting production out of what you're getting in 2 weeks instead of 1. So if you did 300 a week, you get your production from 2 weeks into 1 week. In other words, you compress 2 weeks into 1 week's worth of work because you doubled your investment. This sounds simple, like algebra. What you do to the left side, you do to the right side. It is simple. But there's this thing that people can't mentally get through, all right? But we are seeing the growth. We are seeing people actually putting behind them self-limiting beliefs that they can't book 20 appointments a week, and they're stepping into the light of day where they can book 20 a week, and that's why we're seeing things just blowing up. Where now, it doesn't matter if it's $200 or $400, it's 20 appointments a week, and people are starting to do that. Before, we were just, we're focused on 5,000, 2020, 5,000 a week, 20,000 a month. Well, 20,000 a month is not as effective as doing 20 appointments a week. Focus on 20 appointments a week, you're going to get 20,000 a month easy, and you're going to be in 6 figures, high 6 figures almost, and if you're doing a little bit more of the annuities, it'll be 200,000 simple, 200,000 to 300,000 once you start doing current clients that you've served and start getting focused on referrals, right? So the point being, people now are believing they can book 20 appointments a week. Like Andrew Peters is on a tear. Like, I cannot hold that guy back. He's going crazy booking appointments, and his results are getting better and better. But he's booking 20. Okay? He's going crazy. And he's believing he can do it. That's the only difference, is he believes he can do it, so he's doing it. Okay, so that's the point is, you already are doing it. You're just taking a longer time to do it. I'm saying take all that effort and put it in 1 week, right? Okay, so what does that have to do with recruiting? Recruiting is the same thing, except for the money is later, not now. Okay, so the selling thing is called immediate income. Okay, so this business, the money coming from sales is immediate income. This is what you do. This is what you're doing now in order to make money now. And you got to do this now. All right? So you've got bills. Okay? You've got expenses. Well, expenses, bills, same thing, but I guess I'm talking about, and basically your nut, I guess. Your bills, your nut. Let's just call it a nut. You have your nut to keep your household going. Okay? That's everything to keep your household going. If you make your nut, right? If you make your nut every month, then you're okay. No pressure at home. All right? Maybe you're not putting anything away for retirement, but you've met all your bills, and you've got a little bit to, take the family out to dinner. Just stuff. You make your nut, okay? But the other thing is, you have to make enough to make your investments in your business, which are leads. Okay, so you got to cover the investments in your business to keep it going. So you've made your nut and you've covered your lead bill and the investments in the business when it comes to sales. Okay, now when you're building, you got building investments like advertising. Okay, just, maybe it's Craigslist ads or whatever it is, right? So the immediate income covers, these things right here, okay? So this is where your sales come from. Your sales cover these things, okay? So let's take the building investment, and what that funds is your money from building. Okay, that building is called long-term money. Okay, this is the money that keeps coming back. It's not renewals, not insurance renewals, but it's money that keeps going on and on and on because this is override income on your team. This is when you become an EVP, right, this is the percentage that you're making on each one of these legs. That's your long-term money. Okay, by finding 6 people, and with or without 6 people that will be the winners that will do this, whether you're going to be there or not. See, that's one thing I've found, 2 things I've found so far. I think 4, but right now I have Patrick and Suzanne Connors and Mike and Noah Leventovich. Hey, they're doing this thing. Whether they need me or not, whether I do it or not, they're still going to be doing what they're doing. I mean, I could count it money in the bank, like a Michael Jordan jump shot, okay? I can expect income every year for as long as, because they're locked in. They're locked into the alliance, they're locked into Andy, they're locked into the system beyond me. They're not dependent on me whatsoever. And I call that long-term money because that's money that keeps coming in. Okay, now, if all you're doing is selling just to do this, then you're on this hamster wheel. Okay, this is a little hamster. Smile and a tail. You're running on this hamster wheel, just biding your time and getting older and getting older and getting older and getting older. But you've not created your retirement program because that's what this is, your retirement. This is the bigger money. This is money. This is lifestyle money. This is survival money. So here, what I always look, and now some people, the immediate income can be like big money. We got people making some big money, so they're going to be wrong. All right. Like our top people making $500,000 a year on this side. So you can't do that. All right. You're making some significant money. That's lifestyle money too, except you got to be doing it year after year after year. I think true lifestyle money is if you ever stopped doing this, that this money keeps coming in. To me, that's real lifestyle. Because if you make $500,000 a year purely selling, you start the next year at 0, and you have to keep doing what you're doing. I'm ambitiously lazy. I wanted to not work anymore at going out there and selling so I can have a lifestyle. That's what I was looking for. Now, if what you're looking for is different, then that's cool. You can keep doing this. But for me, I started here, but I wanted to do this, create the long-term money. I wanted to invest in people. I wanted to find people to believe in, people that I can create a partnership with, a relationship with, that I can fall in love with, right? That I'm for them. I want them to grow. And I found some people, and I'm finding more people. And I don't know who is going to do that, but I know out of the people I find, I'm going to find someone who's going to do this without me. And that's eventually what I'm looking for. They'll do this without me, right? And then I can just fade into the sunset doing my thing, okay? I will like say, these people rock. I love them. You guys follow them, and then I'm off to the Bahamas. I'm off to Bora Bora. I'm off to Venice, Italy. You see, I don't want to be the big guy. I don't want to be the top of the pyramid. I want Andy to do that for me so that I can just fade away, edify these people, fade away, and have a life, right? It's pretty incredible, by the way. I don't need that. I don't want control of my group. I want to help my team, but I don't want to be the be-all, end-all. I don't want to be the magic. If you're the magic of your team, your people are always dependent upon you to motivate them. And then if you decide to kind of slow down, they're going to slow down. If you speed up, who knows if they're going to speed up. But you know, that's why when someone says, Alex, the only reason I'm in this business because of you, or I'm staying in the business because of you, and I'm getting a little worried. It's like, I don't want that. I want you to be in the business because the business is awesome and you're achieving your financial dreams and goals, not because of me, right? So that's how I've always looked at the recruiting and building. Is this building is creating your future, creating your lifestyle. And so if you are not going to do this, if you're not going to do this and continue to do this, tell me when you're going to get off the wheel. What is your game plan to get off the wheel? Well, and here's the way I look at it. It's like, imagine, if you will, the future you. And if you've never done this to replace your income here, then if you're going to continue to do this business, then you're going to continue to do this. So imagine, if you will, you're 75 years old. Can you imagine you're 75 and you're still picking up the phone, dialing leads? Can you imagine you're 75 years old and you're going to someone's house and you're knocking on the door and then you get no-showed? Or you show them the lead and they say, that's not my name, and they slam the door in your face. How about when you're 85? Are you going to go out of your house and go in the middle of the winter through snowdrifts, driving your cold car to someone's house, right, kicking your shoes off, and you're 80 years old with your walker walking, hey, let's go to the kitchen table. And then you pull out your flip chart, and then you're flipping the chart. Oh my gosh. Seriously, because if you don't plan on replacing this, that is what you're going to be doing. All right, that's fast forwarding to the future. If you don't do anything to change it, that's the road that you're going. Sometimes you have to be very clear. Where you are today is because of all the decisions and everything you've done to be right here in this moment listening to me. Every decision, every action, everything you've done, the people you've hung out with, all the books you've read got you to this point. Now, if you're not replacing this immediate income with this long-term money, then let me break the news to you now that if you don't change this, then you will continue to be ordering leads, getting leads, downloading leads, calling leads, going on appointments, for the rest of your natural life. And then maybe there's a point you physically can't do it anymore. Now what are you going to do? Because you just, let's say you're just making your nut and you're just making your investment in leads, but you haven't put any money away for retirement. See, your life insurance policy is not retirement. Your life insurance policy is not for you. Well, okay, let me clarify. If you got an IUL and you're jamming a lot of money in, okay, then you are planning for retirement. Okay, that's a good thing. But if all you have is a term policy or some policy that doesn't build cash value and you're banking on that, you don't retire on that. That's for your family. Okay, it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't you? Why? It eludes me, totally eludes me why you wouldn't want to start this process. All you need are 6 people in with that will do this without you. If this took you 1 person a year, after recruiting and recruiting and recruiting, you find 1 person in with a year, that's 6 years, right? And then you're making 1.2 million as an EVP. That's 6 years. Now, it's not maybe the person here, but it could be, okay, through the process of building, it could be the person that's like 20 deep. It could end up being this person, because you find people that want to recruit and build, and it's this person in depth. Here, maybe it's not this person, but it could be this person right here. See how it works? And maybe it's not this person, but it's this person right here. You see, you get the ball moving, you get the ball rolling, and then you find people that want to do this eventually, not through the first person, but through different people. You're going to find the one who will be the one that will do this thing without you. And some of these other people might produce volume temporarily until you find that person. Do you think in the period of 6 years, you can maybe, if you're building it, if you're recruiting every week, that you can find at least 1 person? The answer is yes. Now, if you consistently recruit like a madman, mad woman, okay, but what if this took you 12 years to do? At least it took you 12 years to do it. You're making 1.2 million. By the way, when you find 3 good ones, you're probably making 200 grand. And when you find 4 good ones, you're probably making 500, 600,000. And when you find 6, it's 1.2 million. If that took you 12 years, how old are you now? I mean, I don't know how old y'all are, okay, but let's say you're 40 years old. 12 years from now, you're 52. Is that okay? All right. Well, let's say it took you another 6 years. Let's take you 18 years to do it. How old are you? 58? 1.2 million? Does that make sense? And you got to start now. Why? Because this just doesn't happen right away. If it took you, let's say if it took you 2 years, 3 years to go and become an agency manager, well, you got to find other people that want to do what you've done, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4 agency managers and 2 key leaders, right? This is an AM, key leader, key leader. So you got to at least give some people time to go agency manager. You got to give people time to go agency manager. So you got to find the people early so they start popping. And so, like, this is how business can look. You find this person, finds this person, and it took this guy 3 years to go AM. Okay, so this is year 1, 2, and 3. So year 3, you found 1 person, but in year 2, okay, so you've been finding people, and then this person, you found them also in year 1. They took 3 years. So year 3, you might have 2 AMs. Year 4, 5, and 6, right? You found one person and he takes him 3 years. So you got 1, 2, 3. Year 6, you have another person. Here you found in year 4, or year 3, you found 2, 4. Year 7, you had, and all you need are 2 key leaders. And these key leaders might take a year to 2 years. So 6, 7, 8. So year 8, you can find 2 more key leaders, at least, and you're an EVP. So an 8-year, see, you got to find them early so they'll pop later. It's called the horses in the stall technology or idea. Okay, you got to get the horses in the stall early so they have a chance to marinate, to germinate, to incubate, to get into the system and identify themselves as someone who wants to sell out to this, and then pop them later. So you got to do it now. You got to find them now. You got to get started now. If you don't know, because you got to start your process. You got to get your process going for growth. Okay, and so some people, well, Alex, how come this person's been in it 6 years and they're not agency manager? Because they haven't made the decision yet. Once you make the quality decision to do it, then it's like a 3-year process. You have to make the quality decision and commitment to do it. A real commitment to do it. A commitment every day, every day, every day. And that's why it takes longer than 6 years or 8 years, because you haven't found them. You didn't find them early enough. Do you see how this ramp time, you haven't really started until you start. That's why I'm urging you to get started now so that you can lay out the game plan, because this is what I've told people. It's like every week you go without showing the opportunity to someone new is another month in the field. So every week you go by, it's another month you got to stay in the field. Well, Alex, I've been selling for the last 52 months and I haven't recruited anybody. Well, not 52 months, the last 52 weeks. Well, then you're 52 more months in the field. So that's what, 5 years? It's 4 years? Yeah. Yes. 1 week equates to 1 more month to your prison sentence of being on the mouse wheel here, the habit trail wheel. Does that make sense? You need to plan now to do what you want in the future, because otherwise you're on the path of being that 80-year-old running appointments, getting no-showed. An 80-year-old having 68-year-old people on final expense telling you, I never sent that in, and hanging up on you. How much of that can you take? You probably got your oxygen and you're going on appointments. Oh my gosh, man. Seriously, think about the future. That's your future. Unless you decide to do this now. We've got so many tools for you to do this. So many ways to do it. It's free resources from us. We can get you free resumes. We've been finding people are just starting to get their 50 free resumes a week, no cost to you, and we're recruiting people from that. They're just getting started. It's insane. Do you see how important it is when you're doing this? You're thinking about your future. When you're doing this, you're just living hand to mouth. You're just living hand to mouth, right? Seriously. You're probably just making it. And just making it ain't good, because you got to pre-plan to get out of this into this eventually, I hope. But Alice, I just love to sell. Well, God bless you, man. I want you to sell. I want you to produce. Okay? But I just would hate for you to be 80 years old and having to do that. Right? I mean, a person on their deathbed never wished that they would have spent more time making insurance sales. Right? Who on their deathbed wished that they would have worked more? If you found out you had 1 week to live, what would you be doing? Would you be picking up the phone, dialing leads? Or would you want to be spending time with your family? I recruited this guy this week. I think it was even yesterday I talked to him. His wife died in December. All his kids were grown up. And she actually lived a year longer than they expected her to live. She had this kind of cancer of the bile duct that once you discover the symptoms, it's already stage 4. Like once you know the symptoms, and then they projected her, this is December 2015, they projected her to live 1 year. And so she actually was able through prayer, he said, through prayer and hopefulness, and to live an extra year. And he said, what he told me is just very impacting to me. He said, and we maximized that time. We went out, went to the beach, we did stuff. We maximized that time. And then when she passed away this last December to the week, she was diagnosed in 2015 during Christmas break, and she passed away during a week before Christmas last year, 2017. All his kids are grown. He's an empty nester, truly. And now his wife is gone. And he says, you know, Alex, I had my license before, and I've just never done anything with it. I'm ready to do something. I said, rock on, man. Let's do it. Now, he doesn't regret those last 2 years he had with her because he spent time with her. Right? So here's my point. My point is, where do you want to be at the end of your life? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? Where do you want to be 10 years from now? 10 years from now, do you want to be still selling, or do you want to be living a lifestyle where you can spend maximum time with your family because you've got $1.2 million coming in, pure override income, where the sales are not dependent on you? It's your team of 300 agents that are out there hitting it because they got a dream and goal. They're doing this, and you're teaching them how to do this, how to do this. Do you see how that works? We got the resources for you. We can teach you how to do this. We can teach you the mundane of interviewing. Interviewing, oh my gosh, I've done gazillions of interviews, and it's always the same process. It's simple. I just talk to people. I find out what they're doing now, what they liked about what they're doing now, what they liked about something interesting in their background. And then I find out, what did you like about what you saw with us? They see my 8-minute video, and then I ask them, well, did you get a chance to check out my short business overview? They say yes. It's like, so what did you like about that? What did you like about our program? What did you see in it for you? Then I want to know what they liked about it. And then I ask more questions about what they liked. And then I say, okay, great. Well, do you have any questions for me? They ask me questions. I answer them. I go, okay. And then like 95% of the time, it always ends with, well, what's the next step, Alex? And this only takes 10 minutes. And the reason why is I've done this a gazillion times. You can get to the same competency level quickly after 50 interviews. Maybe it's 100 interviews. You get to the point where you kind of, you're going to get into the groove. But I had to start off with an outline and a script, which we can give you. Okay? You hear me do a few of them on your people, then you're going to kind of get the vibe of it, right? But it's simple. You just do it every week, several times a week, and you're going to find people that come in, and then you bring them into the system and let Andy Albright fire them up, let the TWC fire them up, let the hotspot meeting fire them up, right? And then you stick them into the Alliance system, light of day, 8 steps to success, 8 core values. The stuff that we do, who we are, why we exist, the game plan, and let them come to the system. You invite them. They come by you inviting them. You being an example and you inviting them. That's it in a nutshell. It's not that hard. But you got to get started. So the time that you're watching or looking at Facebook is time you could be talking to someone new. So you've got to substitute broke habits with income-producing habits, which are talking to new people, putting ads out there and attracting people to you, getting on our free resume program, getting on our free website splash page, right? We will give that to you for free. You just find a domain name, we'll put you, and then you can drive people to that splash page. By the way, well, I was going to give some tips. This is not going to be how-to. I can cover the how-to later on the details of that. But the point is, why are you waiting? What is holding you back from getting started? We can get you started for very minimal cost, so what is holding you back? Your future begins today by what you do today so that the future happens, the future you want. But the future you don't want will happen if you don't change what you're doing today. Do you see how that works? It starts now. Don't wait. Don't be that 80-year-old that's got to keep selling. Trust me, I've interviewed 70-year-olds that still need to go out and sell life insurance. And I'll bring them on. I think the oldest I've had, he was 80. And he was selling me on how he had, hey, I'm still physically healthy. And I'm going, okay, let's do this thing. I don't discriminate. But he just got tired. I don't know what to tell you. Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. Okay, I'm urging you, get back on it. Get back into the recruiting game. It works. Now, here's what you're going to go through. Okay, let me just tell you in advance, because I've seen it a gazillion times. You're going to hire 15, 20 people. Okay, this is kind of the rule almost. You're going to buy 15, 20, 30 people, and then they're not going to do anything. They quit class, they get signed up, pay 50 bucks, they're going to disappear. And then the people that come in, they're wandering around not knowing anything, and then they just disappear too. It might be 20, it might be 30 people. Your first ones are your practice ones. You might get lucky and find one that has sense and gets plugged in, and you didn't mess them up, right? You didn't do anything to mess them up. They managed to make it through the process of you learning. But the first 20, 30 people, and because, how do I know this? Because every time a new recruiter starts recruiting, eventually they're going to bring people on, they're all fired up. Oh man, I found this guy's really sharp. I found this gal, they're in class. I've got 12 people in class, man, all fired up. And then 3 months later, you're going to call me and say, man, I don't know about this recruiting thing. Like, no one's around anymore. I thought this was going to work. Okay. You just went through the first learning phase of getting nothing from your efforts. But you did get nothing from your efforts. What you got was, remember, we called it feedback. It's not failure, it's feedback. The feedback is you started to learn what to do. You learned the mechanics. Now you got to learn the people skills of drawing people in and inviting them to things. Because typically the first batch of 20, 30 people, you were not good at inviting them to things. You weren't good at promoting the system to them. You weren't good at saying how important hotspot meetings are, how important Instant Thunder is, how important functions are. You weren't promoting the 8 steps to success. They weren't getting on the book reading program because maybe you weren't either. You know, people are going to do what you do. In fact, they do half the good things and twice the bad things. That's the rule of thumb. And so your first 20, 30, could be 50 people, you're not going to get anything from it. But what you did get is you got smarter, knowing that there's a level of maturity as long as you change what you're doing to the next batch of 50 people. That's what happens. You got to get through that first batch quick. Seriously. Get through that first batch. That's what happens. So let's just accept the fact that you might get lucky and find 1 or 2, but let's just say your first 20, 30 you find are just practice. They're like bonus leads, practice. You might find something, but it's for you to practice and fail. But it's not fail, it's feedback. You get feedback. And then you're going to start calibrating your interviews. Okay, it's this process of calibration where you start calibrating your interview, start getting a sense of, hey, I think this person's a person I think I'm going to spend more time with to try to help them because they're doing all the right things. You start honing that sense of who is going to do it, and you start putting more time in them. developing a relationship with them. But your first batch is going to be, you don't know how to do that yet until you go through that. Then it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Then you learn how to get people to stick more, right? How to get the alliance tentacles in them so that they stick more without you, all right? See, the first batch, you're thinking that you got to do something for them and be their leader, and the more you try to interact with them, the more they don't like you, because you don't have any people skills yet. Do you see that? So once we know that is, okay, so don't quit recruiting when you go through that. You just have to keep going till you get to the next phase called maturity. You start getting mature and start calibrating who to work with. And then you start finding people. You start, But if you go in this wave like this, I get people all the time, man. They quit recruiting because what they did was when they started bringing on people, they stopped producing. And then the minute that all their commissions start dwindling to nothing, they blame it on recruiting. They say, well, I got to stop this recruiting thing. I got to focus on sales. I'm going, dude, you should have always focused on sales. You shouldn't have stopped selling. I call it psychic income because you think by all these people you're bringing in, you think you're earning money psychically, but it's not money that's in your hands that you can pay your bills with. It's psychic income thinking that your batch of people are going to do something in the future. And when they don't, you stop because you blame your lack of income on them, on recruiting, not on you. Stop reducing your selling. Reducing your time in sales. You got to keep doing it, right? You got plenty of time to do both. Trust me, you do. Okay. Do you hear me? Is this making sense to you? Can you see yourself down the road developing an income outside of your sales income that eventually replaces your sales income and goes beyond it because you found the right people? See, that's your vision of what you can accomplish. But if you don't listen to me and don't do anything about it, if it doesn't slap you upside the head, then you're going to be that 80-year-old I'm talking about. Right? Does that make sense? Man, I am totally urging you to do this thing. It's more than worth it. But man, don't be in that rat trap. I'm predicting your future, man. Do something about it. All right? All right.